And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. This is Morning Coffee. Brought to you by Warriors Collection brand. Go to warriorscollectionbrand.com and join the coffee club. If you use hashtag SWC, you can get 15% off. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Last Friday was kind of a show. What is happening, Nikki? It's interesting because what happened was I just kind of got something happened with my live stream crap. And it's funny because I use a Mac, I use Ecamm. I always have a lot of stuff going on in the background, and it always kind of just sometimes gets a little catty-wonkus. Is that a word? It is a word. If you haven't heard it before, good for you. But things just get a little off sometimes with it. And usually happens when I do an update, when Ecamm has an update, when Apple has an update, and that's kind of what throws things off. So, but, you've never heard that word before, Nikki? That's funny. It's whack. It's whack. It's messed up. But anyway, catty-wonkus, yes, that is the word. It might be catty-wampus. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, so I'm going to give you a little recap of what happened with me this weekend because it was kind of interesting. There's a lot of things, and talk about like kind of getting overwhelmed with things because I get overwhelmed sometimes, and I'm sure that happens to a lot of people. And it is overwhelming when you start to do something. So we've been talking, and you guys kind of know where I'm at with my life in general because I always talk about it. We always talk about what is going on and how, I had put the house up for sale. And those of you who have been following me for a very long time know kind of what's going on. Like, I lived in a rental for 2 years. We sold our house 2.5 years ago, moved into a rental, lived there. We made pretty good money on our previous home, and we looked around for a very long time for a lot to build a house on. Okay. So looked and looked and looked and looked. And in Boise, Idaho, Treasure Valley, where I live, is like booming. There are so many people moving here right now. It's crazy. Like, I think it was voted number 5 on the top 10 places to live. Okay. And so people are moving here left and right. And it has just, if you were born and raised in Idaho, it's very much so impossible based on living wages in Idaho to have a job in Idaho and be able to buy a house now because it went from a 1,600 square foot, like I paid $117,000 10 years ago. And then I lived in that house for 6 years, and then I bought another one, and it was $324,000 for a 2,200 square foot home. And it just keeps going up from there. That same home that I bought 10 years ago is on Zillow right now for over $400,000. That's kind of how the market goes. Now, what happens is there's an influx of people moving out from out of state where they make way more money than the median income in Idaho. And they buy these homes, and what they've been doing is they're buying a home like my starter home, right? And they're using it as a rental. And they're living in it while they're building their $1 million home. And then they're keeping that home that they lived in as a rental, and they're renting it out. And then they're moving into their $1 million home. And then people can't buy these starter homes anymore. So it's kind of just this catch-22. Now, it drives me a little bit crazy, but also on the same token, those same people are the people who make my income for me because I sell window coverings. I go into the new homes and sell them their window coverings, and that's what happens. So, I make money if they buy something from me. And that's kind of how it goes, but it's pretty crazy. Okay. So the economy is kind of going down a little bit. People aren't buying as much. And I wasn't sure that we were going to be able to afford the home that we bought, based on the 4.5 years, I should be just fine. But not knowing what the economy does, being a planner, being scared about things and all that stuff. And we just decided, well, we're going to put the house on the market, we're going to sell it, and we're going to buy something cheaper, and we're going to live in that. You know, the big thing that made this house cost so much was the acreage. It's on 3 acres, and that's what we wanted. We want to be able to, I grew up out on 6 acres in Ontario, Oregon, and that was what I hated it, that's a funny story too, because like I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't like driving 7 miles to town because I was playing sports and I was going every day. I had to go drive. Like when I was a freshman in high school, basketball practice was 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's 7 miles at like extra 15 minutes out of my sleep schedule drove me crazy. But we did it, and I didn't like it, and I hated it, so I always wanted to live in town. First thing I do when I buy a house, right in the middle of town. Well, I started to notice, you know, I talked to my parents about it. My parents were like, well, we wanted you to live out in the country because we didn't want you in trouble all the time. Like we wanted you to be we wanted to make it hard for you to get to town. And I think it's funny because I always did stuff like that. Like my very first vehicle, I paid for or bought, you know, my dad co-signed on the loan for me and went and helped me. But I wanted something like with a freaking 454, like a big old giant motor in it that was super fast, blah, blah, blah. And he took me out and he bought me this like, was a 91 Chevy work truck with a V6 in it because he knew that I couldn't hot rod the damn thing. So anyway, that was that was kind of the funny thing about that. But like he would do the same thing. Like we're living out in the country because he didn't want to live next to people and he didn't want to have like this influence of other people outside. So I started to realize as I got older, what's up, Lynette, over on the TikTok. If you guys are joining on TikTok, we're streaming on YouTube as well, Facebook, LinkedIn. No, I'm not LinkedIn anymore. Twitter, a couple other places. So anyway, that was the idea. So we're like, I started to notice that like I didn't like living next to people. I didn't like people in my business. I didn't like HOAs because they always have something to say about something. You could leave your garbage can out of the front one day extra on accident, get a notice, get charged $50. They try to tell you that you have to do certain things, right? So I hated that. So anyway, we built this house out here, and buying it with the acreage just kind of skyrocketed the price on it, and just wasn't quite sure. Plus, interest rates are really stupid right now. It's ridiculous, and hopefully they do go down like they say they're going to, because you lose an interest point, and it lowers your house payment a lot. So, yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. So we moved in, and immediately something changed with my pay, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to make it. Put the house on the market. Started talking about it, started thinking about it with my wife. We were going back and forth for a month. We showed the house probably 10 times. We got a bunch of bullshit stuff because we just moved in and we didn't finish things and we couldn't. And like everyone's making comments about, well, landscape's not done. There's this not done, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't care. What's that worth to you? Make me an offer. No offer, no offer, no offer. And I kept praying about it, thinking about it, trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. And we just decided finally that we're going to take it off the market. So with all that happening, now we're like, this is what we've got to do now, because we had all these plans of things that we were going to do with the house, my studio included. Like it's not done yet, and it will be, but it's not yet. But now I can move forward with it. And so I start making some moves to get that stuff done and start thinking about like the things like over here, I need some shelving. Like this whole thing was set up so that I could hang up some memorabilia, hang up all my Giants stuff. Like this is my Giants wall on the other side. You can't see it right now, but getting all that stuff ready, that was just the studio, right? So then we made sure we got a wood burning fireplace. I had to find a place and make a wood rack next to the house so that we could do that, get some storage. We have some yard work we need to do. I put in the landscaping. We bought the rock, but we didn't put it in, but I put in all the rock. So our exterior is pretty set. We got the sprinkler system. We got the grass. We got all that crap going. And then my wife, knowing that we were going to move again, started packing. So we had boxes in the garage. So anyway, I tell you this big old long story to tell you that I spent the whole weekend cleaning out the garage. Not the whole weekend, but all day yesterday cleaning out the garage. Saturday was setting up the wood rack and a couple other things. I had to get the wood pile correct because I put it out there and it's starting to rain and snow here. And then yesterday I cleaned out the garage. Well, I got really overwhelmed when I was cleaning out the garage because the majority of the stuff that was still in boxes is mine. It is my stuff for this studio. Okay, and there's a lot of it. And I don't know if it's all going to fit in here, and I don't know if it's all going to go in here, but this is my space. And over here, I was planning on having, cabinets in a shelf and, just a bunch of things over here where I can put all my San Francisco Giants bobbleheads and all that crap and I have a lot of memorabilia. I've interviewed a lot of people on my podcast. I've bought stuff from them, shirts, posters, things like that. I want to hang them up all over. All the stuff that was in my home before the rental that I knew that I was going to get to put back up. And I just didn't do it. Well, my wife's going on, you got so much crap. I don't even know where you're going to put it all. And I'm like, I don't either. But the reason why I haven't done anything with it is because I don't have the space to put it right now in here. And so I have to go get a couple bookcases and get those put up. And so that's kind of where it's at. But like, I'm looking through these boxes literally going, I got like a whole bin full of pictures and posters and things that I want to hang up. But then I'm going, I can't hang them up yet because I don't know what that's going to look like. So it's like this step-by-step thing. In the camera, like I haven't set that up. It's sitting right in front of me, but I haven't had a chance to set it up. So that's kind of what I've been working through. I need to get that. Thank you for subscribing, man. I appreciate that. We just got a new subscriber on TikTok. Really appreciate that. But I just started setting all that up, and it's crazy. It's like, I need that. I need to do that. So the TikTok chat's going pretty crazy over here too, but I want to talk about something real quick before we get there. Okay. But just remember, this is what sparked this conversation for me. Okay. I was scrolling through something this morning, and it was super crazy to see, because it's like what I'm thinking about a lot of times, right? That's what we talk about. Where'd it go? Here it is. All right. So I got a comment from a fellow podcaster who said, because I've been doing this for 4 years, right? And more recently, I've been doing this every morning. It's kind of it's a newer thing, right? But the shift has always been this. Like, I'm always trying to find something to make it better, right? And it's not, it's in its own right. Everyone thinks you're always killing it, and it is what it is, and it's great. So, it's great for me, all right? I got 607 downloads in the last 30 days. I have 45K total all-time downloads. That's not huge. That's on average. They tell me that each episode is going to get about 21 downloads, right? And over time, they get a lot more than that. But I know what he's going through. He's talking about in the Men of the House podcast. If you haven't followed that on TikTok, go follow it. But it hasn't been easy every single time, right? Like, it's not something that continually drags in a lot of stuff. But over time, those numbers have happened in the last 4 years. And there's a lot of things that can drive that. But the reality is that people who know the meaning of the show is to show you that success is whatever you make it. To me, 45,000 downloads is pretty damn good. To me, and I complain about it a lot on TikTok, 250 views. When you really think about the big picture, that's 250 people that you're not in front of. Okay? You think about the amount of people that you talk to in a day, that you influence or have a conversation with, or that influence you. And if I think about it, like today, I'm going to probably talk to my wife, my daughter, my son. Okay. My son's 2, my daughter's 10, my wife and I have conversations all day, every day. That's 3, right? I may talk to my boss, 4. I may talk to my coworkers, 5 and 6. And then I have 2 customers today. And then I may talk to, I'm going to the furniture store to go look at bookshelves. There's 1 to 2 more people there. If you just add up the people that you talk to, you influence you in a day, it's not very many, right? But 250 people, or I've got 3 people in the chat room on TikTok right now. I've got I got to look at it. It tells me I got 3 people watching me on other platforms. plus the 250 views of every video that I get, that's a lot of people over time. I've had the attention of 45,000 people over 4 years. Okay. That's a lot. And so you never know what you say or what you do, how impactful it will be to other people. Okay. That's right. You're right. I talked to my, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying, Nikki, like 15 people over the day, right? Plus starting to think about all those other people that you catch and that you may influence. So it really is a lot more than what you think it is. Okay. So what I said in that post in his last post on my TikTok was, I saw this morning, and I don't know if Morgan Freeman said it. I don't know if that's where it came from, but it was right in front of Morgan Freeman's picture. And it said, never lose hope tomorrow. Never lose hope. Tomorrow could be the day that you have been waiting for. So you never know. That one post that you make, 250 people today could be 250,000 tomorrow. But if you don't do it, it could be zero. It would be zero, right? It would be 2. It would be 3. It could be those 15 people that you're talking to. So if you really, really want to be successful in what you're doing, and you really want to build on what's going on, you have to never lose hope. You have to know in your heart that what you are doing, if you believe in it, will happen. And that's gold right there. It is not easy, right? It is not easy. Self-doubt is the killer of all dreams, okay? Self-doubt is the killer of all dreams. So when you start doubting what you're doing, it could end it. And the hard part is to keep going, right? And if you believe in it, it's going to happen. So that's my spiel today. I'm on my soapbox right now, I feel like, but never stop if you believe in it. And I was listening to, it's funny because I listen to books, right? Like in last Friday, things went all weird with the podcast, right? Like I couldn't get it to shut off, and who knows if this is even going to happen today, but I'm glad that there's people live watching it right now. And there was last week, but those people are the only people that heard it because it's actually on my YouTube. So it stayed on my YouTube, but I couldn't end it. I couldn't stop it. Something goofy was happening because like right now we're doing this and then I'll hit the outro and we'll be out, right? We'll be done. But I couldn't stop it last week because my computer was being silly. And these Apple updates, they put out an update and then they miss something and then they got to put out another one and then they miss something. And it's like, I got to get a new phone because I'm out of space on mine, or I need to like completely restart it and get all the Apple data off of there so that I can have some more room because, I don't know. I need to go through my pictures. There's like all kinds of things that'll load up your data on your phone and stop you from being able to even update it. So like you go update it. There's not enough space. And it's like, shit, I need that space. So, and then you have like, I've had an iPhone for, I don't know, a long time, over 10 years. And like, I just leave all my pictures in the camera roll. And so I need to do that as well. I need to get that out of there, but I go back and I look at them. So anyway, that's what I want to leave you with today. I want you to think about that. Think about your goals, your dreams, your desires, the things that you want to do, right? And if you truly believe in them, manifestation is one of those things that you need to, manifesting is not just like saying, this is going to happen, right? Because it is, it's knowing what it is, but now you have to manifest it. And part of manifesting things happening is doing the work. Okay? Exactly. Jenny Angel, thank you. Right there. Doing it. Do the work. You can manifest it, but manifesting it is knowing that there's all these steps and tools that you have to use to make it happen. So if you want to have a podcast, the first thing you got to do is start. And it doesn't even matter. You could use your phone. You could go to Spotify for podcasters. It's free. You could start. I'm not on Spotify. Because there are so many free versions of podcasts and things that you can do just to start. I started with an iPad and a phone at a in one of those lifetime tables in my garage, just talking to people. So get out there and do it. Right? Thanks for hanging out with me. You can always subscribe on TikTok. You can subscribe on YouTube. If you want to help the show grow, join the Patreon. You get bonus episodes. I still got to upload a bonus episode from Jennifer Boxerman, but I'm not releasing interview episodes. I got 2 other people I need to interview too, because I do the interviews as well. And at the first of the year, I'm going to drop that. Podcasting is kind of slow right now. There's not a lot of people listening or watching or doing those things. But your reminder today is, if you have a dream, if you have a desire, write it down. Start with the big picture and work it down to all the little steps that'll get you there, and continually work on those little steps all day, every day. Okay, so here's the little steps. Till next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.